Right everyone, first of all I'd like to apologise for my recent hiatus from making videos. As some of you might know, my father passed away at the start of this year, which has really taken up a lot of my time. Thankfully now though, everything is starting to calm down and I can return to making videos for all of you awesome people. So last week the challenge Rancor was nerfed. Now I know a lot of people are split on the changes, but I personally think it's a lot better now. My view is a little biased though, considering I lead a multi-time zone guild, so the changes have been a massive improvement for myself in terms of planning, as well as our other hard-working officers. The changes thankfully removed the stacking damage and speed factor from the remaining health of the phase, and moved it to each 2% damage done in each battle, and I'll talk a little more about that later on. The bad news is, however, a lot of the really high damaging teams will now be pulling single digits. Today, however, I'm going to show you all how to use Darth Vader to pull a very nice 10% damage in the first phase of the challenge Rancor. Now I'm not going to lie to you all, this is a very RNG dependent team and it will likely take quite a few tries to set up the run properly, but I'm hoping I can help you all today in showing you some tactics with the team that reduce the RNG factor significantly. Before we get started though, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell, join my Discord server and consider sharing the video with your friends and guild members to help them take down this very tough raid a little easier. So without any further delay, let's get started. So as usual, we're first going to go through the mods and Zetas this team is going to need to work. Both are extremely important for this team to work properly, and even my mods are nowhere near perfect, especially on Vader and crew. So for the Zetas, you're going to need all three of Darth Vader's. His leader ability is going to allow the dots to never expire on opponents, allowing you to build them up for one large culling blade at the end of the battle. Merciless Massacre is going to provide us lots of bonus turns to help the cooldown of Force Crush speed up a lot, and even his No Escape Zeta is going to provide some nice healing for Vader when the dots expire and reapply. You're also going to need Crew's Unique so that he starts the battle with Taunt. This is important so he takes the first death mark instead of someone else who likely wouldn't be able to survive it long enough for What to cleanse. Speaking of What, you're also going to need his Zeta, as this is going to allow him to spread tech to the team much quicker at the start of the battle. 3PO is also going to need his Oh My Goodness Zeta, which is going to apply 2 stacks of Confuse to the raid boss. It might not be much, but it's more debuffs that will help Vader at the end when he fires off his culling blade. Now as for BB-8 Zetas, these in all honesty are both optional, and in all honesty I feel roll with the punches does more harm than good, but it's a common Zeta and crucial for other teams. Most people already have it or probably should get it, but the reason it's not great for this team is, when 3PO calls his assist, BB-8 will attack out of turn and call 3PO back to use his basic on the boss, which causes expose, which we're generally trying to avoid. His second Zeta self-preservation is less common, but I do find it useful for keeping him alive, as the Foresight does in fact block the splash damage from the boss. You could probably do without it, but it does help remove some of the RNG. So now that's all out of the way, we're going to quickly talk about the mods. We're starting with our team's leader, Darth Vader, who we have modded with a crit damage and crit chance set with a total of 267 speed. Make sure to go for a health primary circle, offense primary cross, crit damage primary triangle, and obviously a speed arrow. Once this is done, you need to look for as much secondary offense that you can find, as this will be crucial in increasing his hit at the end. You don't need to worry about crit chance, as Illuminated Destiny will give us crit chance up right before the culling blade. Up next is our crew, who we have modded with 2 health sets and a defense set with a total of 212 speed. Now honestly I would have preferred to mod him with full defense sets, but my defense sets are pretty trash. For primaries, you're going to need health on the circle and defense on everything else including the arrow. You're going to be aiming for at least 71% armor rating, which is going to help him take the boss's damage a lot more easily than stacking health. Next up is our Wat Tambor, who is modded with a set of our fastest mods, bringing him to a total of 357 speed. Not too much to say here, speed is really all that matters on him, as he's going to be providing heal over times and cleanses to our entire squad. Obviously stack health primaries where possible, if you can do so without losing speed. Next up is our BB-8, who we have modded with a speed set and another 2 of our fastest mods, bringing him to a total of 339 speed. Similar to Wat, speed is the #1 priority on him, as he's going to be a backup source of tenacity down, as well as indirectly being our main source of dots, given he will call Wat to assist against the boss when using his first special. If you can give him some health primaries on the circle, cross and triangle, without jeopardizing his speed, I would advise to do so to help increase his survivability. And finally is our 3PO, who is also modded with a speed set and another 2 of our fastest mods with a total of 310 speed. Similar to Wat and BB-8, speed is the most important factor here. Again though, stack health primaries where possible if it doesn't reduce his speed. So moving on to the actual battle, you're first going to want to award the weapon tech to Darth Vader, followed by the tank tech to 3PO. After that, you're going to want to use BB-8's basic to apply tenacity down to the Gamorrean guard. On 3PO's first turn, you're going to then want to call Wat to assist against the boss, and you're going to do this for the remainder of the battle to stack the most dots. After this, Vader is going to open with Force Crush to apply even more dots. Around now, the boss will take a turn and apply Death Mark to Crew. Now Crew is going to need to stun the guard on the right to prevent him from gaining Taunt. Wat will then need to use his basic to cleanse the Death Mark that was recently placed on Crew. BB-8 will then need to reapply tenacity down, but after this now, for the most part, he should be good to spam his middle ability, which will call Wat to assist and add even more dots to the boss. Now when 3PO has to use his basic, be sure to always target the Gamorrean Brute, and this is for two reasons. The first of which is to prevent him from taunting. However, the more important reason is because we want to avoid using this on the boss as much as possible, as it will likely land exposed, which when hit will grant the boss additional turn meter, which is something we are trying to avoid. Vader is next going to use a basic on the boss. The reason why we held back on MM is because we want to set up his cooldowns for later on in the battle. Had we used MM at this point, the end result would have been Force Crush and MM sharing a cooldown, which is not good for the final Culling Blade. Now Wat can place the first tech onto BB-8. From this point forward, Crew will be our primary source of tenacity down using his basic, and BB-8 assisting with 3PO will make sure tenacity down stays on the boss for the majority of the time, leaving BB-8 free to stack dots. So now it's finally time to use our first MM. Be sure to target the boss when activating it for the Wat assist, and then use basics to kill both guards, followed by a Force Crush once again on the boss, and then follow it with a basic. Do not use Culling Blade at this point. So with the setup now complete, all you need to do is continue to follow the system until Illuminated Destiny comes off cooldown. While we wait for this, I'm going to talk a little more about the fight in general. Let's first talk about applying dots. Even with tenacity down, every debuff has a 15% chance of being resisted, and if this happens too much early on in the run, you'll be best to restart. A general rule I like to follow is, if I don't have at least 9 damage over time effects on the boss after Vader's first Force Crush, I'll retreat and start again. The overall goal is to have at least 50 debuffs on the boss before Culling Blade. Because of this, keeping tenacity down on the boss is crucial. If it falls off, do whatever you can to have it reapplied as soon as possible. Even I made a few mistakes with this during the battle, so it's not the end of the world as long as you fix it quickly. It probably also goes without saying that if you lose any member of your team early on, the run is finished and you might as well restart. Usually I struggle a little bit with Crew more than anyone else, but keeping the guards alive fixed this massively for me. You see, when the guards attack Crew, he will generally heal more than the damage they inflict, so it helps to keep him alive a lot longer. This is probably not an issue for Relic 7 and well modded Crews, but as you know, mine is only Relic 5 and not modded that well at all. So another question you're all probably thinking is, why are we not using Culling Blade? And the answer to that is simple. The more damage we deal to the boss, the more speed and offense he gains. For this reason, our tactic in this battle is to stack dots and save for one massive Culling Blade at the end, roughly around when we have done about 4% damage, as this is the point where it becomes extremely hard to survive. Luckily this times well with BB-8's Illuminated Destiny, which is going to award Vader crit damage up, crit chance up and offense up, which are further going to increase the damage of his Culling Blade, as well as removing the crit chance RNG to a degree. Now circling back to the raid mechanics, how it works is for every 2% damage dealt to the boss, he receives 20% speed and offense, and the bonus percent increases by 20% each time. So for example, once we deal 2% damage to the boss, he will have an additional 20% speed and offense, but once we get past the 4% mark, the boss will have an additional 60% speed and offense. So we're coming up to the end of the run now, and this is because Illuminated Destiny is about to go off, and the fact we're now struggling to survive. Right before Illuminated Destiny is ready, kill one of the side guards with Vader, and then proc Illuminated Destiny. Then Vader can activate MM one last time, take out the last guard, and then Culling Blade the boss, bringing us to just under 10% damage. Vader is then going to take another turn and do a final basic to get us over the 10% milestone. And there we have it everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the video and learned how to put up some amazing numbers in the reworked challenge Rancor. As you can see, we ended up with just over 4 mil damage, which is a little over 10%. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see some of you guys hitting 12%, as I did make a couple of mistakes that likely cost me a couple of dots, and for those of you with Relic 8 Darth Vaders, you might even be able to pull even higher scores. Roughly 10 of these teams would be enough to end Phase 1 alone, and considering there's some great Vader teams for Phase 2 and 3, behind Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, he's probably one of the best characters for this raid overall. Please remember to share this video with your guild members, as I want to see as many guilds as possible farming Relic 8 gear and keeping up with the ever increasing power creep. My next video will be about using GL Ray in the 4th phase, so be sure to subscribe so you know when that is released. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you all very soon.